How did you go about executing the project goals? Kind of take me through the process of converting your hand drawings into graphics and then ultimately film.
Right. So the first step was actually coming up with the idea, and that involved about 9 months of research, of doing face-to-face interviews with people. This was 2018,
Wow, okay.
and spending actually spending time myself in the Tahoe Basin, looking at potential sites and looking at how people where people went, how they used the different areas. Lake Tahoe is a really big place, so there's a lot of different kinds of places and uses. And so what I had to do was figure out where, if I was going to use a single place, what kind of space that might be, and then develop a project that would be appropriate to that place and how people occupied it. Are they just passing through? Are they staying there for a while? Is there some other reason? Is it a viewpoint, for example, or is it a trail? And so then the project developed from there. I saw a lot of trees that had been cut. That's kind of a theme in forest management, is thinning out the forest. And I'm sure you have the same thing in the Rockies too, very, very similar ecosystem problems. And so the idea evolved around working with tree rings and the science of reading forest ecology in tree rings, and that I could actually literalize that and bring the reading of what forest ecologists do and visions of the future forest into a drawing of a tree ring. So between the idea of working with tree rings and the site that I wanted to work with, I had a sense I needed about 30 to 40 drawings that would create enough of an impact in a big outdoor space. So as soon as you move outdoors, the feeling of space really changes. And so there was a process of matching the scope of the project from the content side with the scale of the site.
Definitely. And what would you, with the topic of space, would you say that was one of the biggest challenges with the project that presented itself?
The biggest challenge was finding a material, having confidence in the material, that it would adhere in in an environment that's pretty rough, right? The surfaces are rough. It's not like a conference center where you have people who could check on the graphics, every day or a couple of days. There's no oversight. It's national forest land. And so I was concerned that the material would stick. And also at 6,000 foot elevation, where you have a lot of UV radiation for the colors, I was concerned about the color durability. And of course, the project was installed in the spring. It'll be removed in the fall, so it's not going like under ice for the winter. But some of the weather conditions, they have thunderstorms there during the summer. So those were the concerns, and in particular, getting a permit to do the work was based on having a material that wouldn't leave a residue behind. It wouldn't damage the surface when it was removed. And so I wound up doing some tests with the material in a public park in South Lake Tahoe. And it was a very challenging situation because the surface it wasn't asphalt, as in the site that I wound up using is pretty rough asphalt. The public park was actually unit pavers. So it had 1/4 inch, it was a grid, it had 1/4 inch spaces between the pavers. And so there were some questions there. But we did put some tests down for a couple of months, took them up again, and the material worked perfectly. There was no fading in the colors, but I would say it performed almost perfectly, and we did get the go-ahead at the U.S. Forest Service site.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I feel like application, things that you just mentioned, worrying about, is it going to stick? Is it going to leave behind a residue? You know, it's a short-term graphic. So what are we working with here? Those are all major concerns for a lot of people in the film and wide format printing business. So you're
Yep.
not alone in that, that's for sure.
Right. And
So
I would say the more field testing examples that are out there, the better it is for the industry. Like, you know, if I could have pointed to another mountain town where floor graphics had been installed outdoors for a summer, then, you
exactly.
know, that would be helpful to others. So I'm hoping this is an example that can be of use in that way as well.